A warm welcome to all my friends in the media for this press interaction. As you know, we had a very absorbing session this morning, the inaugural program of Urban Mobility Conference. Very wide variety of discussions, points, and thought-provoking ideas were presented. To briefly talk about it and to give you an overview, I will now request Honorable Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs to give you the opening remarks and then followed by question and answers. Please.
I think you were all present in the session itself, so it's perhaps not necessary for me to give you any opening remarks. Let's straight start with the questions.
Yes. Sir, I have one question for you and second one for Sir, Secretary Sir. So one thing, first is about the e-rickshaw. I think e-rickshaws. Sir said that, it is not just about Delhi. Other cities are also seeing the boom of e-rickshaw if you go to Noida and other areas. And those are becoming a big problem at stations. So any kind of policy intervention or any kind of guideline they're going to issue to ensure that, these places get less congested. That is number one. And number two, sir, if at all you can give us anything about the progress of electric buses scheme. You also talked about it, the recent one the cabinet approved. And maybe last question on RRTS, because that's also becoming a big thing. How we are looking at the next two corridors going ahead, sir.
I'm happy to, Deepakji, I'm happy to address all three of your questions. My response will be at the broad policy level, and then I'll request Manojji to fill this up. Look, till the government comes in with a policy on last mile connectivity, which is comprehensive with all the stakeholders on board, autonomous solutions will take place. And this e-rickshaw is an autonomous solution, and it has served a purpose. But I think you are looking at it more in terms of the fact that you are resident in Delhi or working in Delhi and the NCR. So it's happening in Delhi, and I think some of the metro stations around the capital. I don't think this is an issue really outside this part of the country. We are looking at e-mobility and last mile connectivity in the context of that e-mobility as a larger policy issue. Insofar as the 10,000 e-buses are concerned, I think the short answer is, yes, you're right, we've got a cabinet approval, and I think the tenders are going to be floated shortly. I think Secretary will be able to correct that for a certain number. I think he will be able to give you that. Insofar as RRTS is concerned, yes, you were present when the Honorable Prime Minister inaugurated the first 18 kilometers out of that 82 kilometers Delhi-Meerut link. My reading is that the next segment will be available by January, February next year. And the total 82 kilometers to Meerut will take perhaps a year or so, 2025, first or second quarter. Okay. Now, that is the overall picture. Insofar as the remaining segments, I think that's all. That information is in the public domain, Delhi-Alwar and Delhi-Panipat. As far as I know, one of those segments has gone to the Delhi government, to the government of the NCR region, and I'm told that it is under active consideration. It requires a memorandum of understanding to be signed between the central government and the Delhi government. I think that is also receiving attention. And I personally believe that all the effort that has been made by the central government, and hopefully the Delhi government will also respond quickly, and it is my expectation that will happen. Have I covered all your issues? Yes. I thought there was another issue that you would cast, but you already have a piece on that in the Times of India this morning. Really.
Yes, please.
Manoj, would you like to? Yeah.
We have received for one tender which we are floating, as you said, next week. We have finalized RFP. We're just seeking internal approvals. So probably by end of next week, we should be able to float the tender for about 3,000 buses. And I think UP is working for another 2,000 buses for finalizing their slightly different model. So that proposal is also coming to us. So this is, we had given actually after the cabinet approval, we had given a month's time to states to send us the proposal. So this is a proposal we have received in about some months' time. States other states are working on the proposal. So this tender will come out next month or next week. E-rickshaw, there are a lot of challenges. When you use them as a user, yes, there are design challenges. They are not very safe. They probably we need to standardize the design and the safety aspects. And also we need to redesign our stations so that there is a better accommodation of e-rickshaws. So what e-rickshaws have demonstrated to us that a shared ride at the last mile is something which has worked. Now, shared ride could be as rudimentary as e-rickshaws in Delhi or could be a better mode. But shared ride across the country, as Honorable Minister had said in the speech, Vikram Auto, which provides a shared ride against for a large number of smaller cities and say 10 rupees, 20 rupees ridership, that the more we can modify it and improve it, I think that is a solution other than smaller buses providing last mile connectivity.
Also, Deepak, when you do face congestion and you do have this is a time-tested mode of transport in the smaller cities, okay? Vikram Auto or whatever the name of the vendor or it's a question of getting your design right. I mean, this happens in many parts of the world. When you are the passengers potential there, they don't all congregate there and create a traffic jam. You can have like at the Delhi airport, you have the taxis in a line, and as they keep coming and people all this is doable. But I think at the heart of all this is the element of affordability. You don't want to replace an existing functioning system. It's creating some dislocation. We have to sort that out. But the system you put in place also, I mean, the ideal would be a totally green this thing, which is happening. I mean, if you went through this exhibition just now, I mean, apart from the vendors who are displaying that technology, there was also a smaller bus, e-bus. But you have to make it work in terms of viability. But all this is work in progress, and I think we'll get there.
Yes, yeah. Manish from Jagran.
And also please identify yourself.
हाँ सर, मैं मनीष तिवारी हूँ दैनिक जागरण से। मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि अर्बन मोबिलिटी को लेकर इतनी बातचीत हो रही है, लेकिन अभी भी जो अर्बन ट्रांसपोर्ट पॉलिसी है वो 2006 वाली पे ही हम लोग अभी काम कर रहे हैं। तो क्या स्टेट के साथ में कुछ और उसमें कुछ नई चीज़ें जोड़ के शेयर किया गया है या वही अभी चलती रहेगी?
देखिए, पॉलिसी में कोई कमी नहीं है। आपकी पॉलिसी की बेसिक टेनेट्स क्या है? You need to move people around. All right, you don't need to move two-wheelers and three-wheelers and cars and etc. देखिए, एक दिन में पेट्रोल पंप में कितने 6 करोड़ लोग go to fill up, and आपकी इंटरसिटी ट्रांसपोर्ट भी बढ़ रही है, इंट्रासिटी का भी स्पीड बढ़ रहा है. All of it is green. You're also bringing in 3,000 out of the first tranche of 10,000 there. तो पॉलिसी में मेरे को लगता वो नहीं है, इसमें स्टेट्स को इंप्लीमेंट करना होगा. अब मेरी जो समझ है कि आप जैसे ई बस की स्कीम है, the states have to be partners to that, and I'll request Secretary to explain this. Ultimately, what does this policy involve? Somebody is providing the vehicle, somebody is providing a service. That service has to be, there has to be a return on that service, etc. तो आप इनको explain करिए. I think that is, it's not that the policies, within that policy we can do all these things.
The urban mobility policy is a broad framework, and we are coming out with the specific interventions under that policy. So, e-bus seva is also a intervention within that policy, and different projects of metro, NCRTC. These are projects within that broad framework. So, इस बस में it's a partnership between center and state. So जैसे procurement का large level procurement government of India is doing so that the costs go down. Broad framework हमने lay down किया है ताकि suppliers को easy रहे, एश्योरेंस रहे पेमेंट्स की. फिर क्योंकि ई बस पहली बार ज़्यादातर शहरों में बस सर्विस हो रही है, तो भारत सरकार 24 रुपया पर किलोमीटर सब्सिडी भी दे रही है. चलानी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को है, बस तो भारत सरकार चला नहीं सकती है, बस शहर या स्टेट गवर्नमेंट की एंटिटीज़ बस चला रही हैं. तो ये कि पार्टनरशिप है जिसमें लेंडर्स हैं, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट हैं, शहर हैं, भारत सरकार है, OEMs हैं जो ये बसें बना रहे हैं. तो ये पूरा फ्रेमवर्क भारत सरकार इनेबल कर रही है इसी पॉलिसी में.
There's a please.
Sir, first of all, thank you so much for bringing focus back on buses in last few years. It's just so heartening. I want to say one thing. This e-bus seva, we are not, in fact, I work in bus industry for last 10 years. We are the service provider for some 15,000 buses across country in 50 cities, including all of Bombay. We also run last mile in Bombay across bus stops with e-bikes. What I wanted to say was, so the e-bus seva, you've done a great job of shifting subsidy from my capex to opex. It's fantastic because that's what is really needed. There are two things I want to say. One, the bus comes on the road after the tender, but bus is still not digitized many a times.
Bus is not?
Digitized. So for example, it's still the bus is not live tracked. Bus is not live track. Bus doesn't accept a digital payment. So there are two things happen because of it. One, the pilferage continues as it is. And in Bombay, the ridership has gone up by 45%. The revenue has gone up by 25% because they are totally digitized the buses. So if we digitize the bus, not only the ridership and the collection will go up, the other thing is the way you give a subsidy on per kilometer, that's get accountable. Because then the kilometer was served actually to serve a passenger. It was a trip, not a dead kilometer from a fuel station.
All the points you're mentioning were very much part of our internal discussions when we did this.
Perfect.
All of them. The point is you are going from a private service provider who does what he wants to, and who can, because of the laws of demand and supply, in a given situation, raise it 20 times. You're going from that system to one in which central government is assuming a responsibility for providing some capital expenditure, state government has to become this thing. Now, all these considerations were looked at. If you make it only digitized, there are a lot of people who will not be able to get on a bus.
Sir, digitization is an option.
Just listen to me. I'm saying. So I think I'll request Secretary to explain this. Whenever you devise a scheme, you can't say, my grandmother had a bad experience, or there something went wrong, therefore I can't disguise it. Many of these things also require behavioral change.
That's it.
In any urban intervention that you do, the behavioral change is very central to it. So, आप जरा बताइए इनका how we are planning to.
One of the mandatory components in our scheme is adoption of integrated traffic management system, and each bus will have a GPS and ITMS हम deploy कर रहे हैं. तो जो बस कितना move कर रही है, कैसे move कर रही है, अभी कहाँ पे है हर बस, ये सारा ITMS का पार्ट है. दूसरा,
और खास करके आपने बोला कि वो सब्सिडी ले लेगा, वो अपना 6 किलोमीटर का यहाँ चला देगा, सब ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. Not in the scheme we are devising.
दूसरा, we are providing support to all urban bus services, whether under e-bus seva or something else, for shifting to a AFC and a digital payment system. So, जो जैसे मेट्रो में AFC automatic fare collection system होता है और उसका कार्ड होता है, तो same support we'll provide to all buses in urban area across the country, चाहे वो बेस्ट की हो, चाहे DTC की हो, चाहे वो इलेक्ट्रिक हो या डीजल हो या सीएनजी हो, ताकि ये शिफ्ट टू डिजिटल पेमेंट, मॉडर्न डिजिटल पेमेंट, क्योंकि सरकारी सिस्टम में लीकेज भी होता है, सब तरह की चीज़ें होती हैं. सो इट वुड बी अ ग्रेजुअल शिफ्ट. आप अगर कैश पेमेंट बंद करा देंगे तो अभी शुरू में बसेस में बहुत प्रॉब्लम आएगी. तो सो वी आर इनेबलिंग दैट.
Odisha, thank you so much for having us. You mentioned about 895-kilometer operational length of metro at present in India and about 7 cities. Could you just share us data, sir? What is the length of metro under construction in the remaining cities?
Yeah, I'll give you, I have the precise figure. Only thing, it keeps changing. There are 965. Yeah.
965.
अभी जो हुआ है ना, उसके now it's 895 plus 965. That will take us higher than the US system, which is about 1500 something. Yeah, 1300 something. Yeah.
So where do we stand? You said that it will become second largest global.
After China, we'll be the second largest.
At present, so where do we stand, sir?
I think number 4 or something. Number 3rd. After it's China, US, India. Yeah, because we've overtaken the.
The second part is you also mentioned that 1 crore passengers are riding every day across the metro system in India. You also mentioned that this number you presume that it's likely going to be right. But as Prahlad have also mentioned, there are many challenges, including integration, affordability, viability. Where do you see going forward in light of these challenges?
देखिए, ऐसा है कि metro ridership has to go up for the simple reason that the commuter sees the metro system as an efficient, affordable means of getting from one point to another. Whether it is your place of residence to the place of work, whether it is for other purposes. Now, I'll give you a simple round park figure. I think the NCR region has 240, how many kilometers of metro? 394. And that system has a ridership today of what, 70 lakhs? No, 70 lakhs. Okay? And let's say you take the other bigger systems. Okay? When I became minister in 2017, one of the major concerns used to be, आप मेट्रो सिस्टम तो बनाए जा रहे हैं, इनकी वायबिलिटी इन टर्म्स ऑफ राइडरशिप होगी, विल यू बी एबल टू पे बैक द लोन्स? Frankly, that's not really a concern. Some of the new ones, yes, because they've just started. For instance, Delhi Meerut, when the RRTS goes, when it's functional, I have no doubt that people will prefer to take this 50-minute ride by the metro, by the RRTS, rather than spend 3 hours, and by that time the commuting time may go up. But if you expect that the viability issue will be resolved just by this first 18 kilometers that we have done, and those 10,000 people who have done this more out of curiosity, it's not going to be done. So you need each one a gestation period. All right. Bangalore Metro, all the other major cities Metro, the ridership is going up. And there are very good reasons for the ridership goes up. One is, if there is congestion or other challenges in the alternate system, that is an encouragement. Number 2, can the metro system maintain its quality of service? That's a very important, you need to, maintain stock, you need to maintain your systems and their overall efficiency. That's it. But so my point is that 1 crore as of now, even under the existing 895 kilometers is 1,000 crore, 1 crore a day will go up. Even under it. But when you are adding more lines, then you are obviously not only just doubling it, but there is a geometric thing which goes up. My reading is, I used to have these conversations when I was civil aviation minister as well. Karola ji was civil aviation secretary with me, and every time when we sat down to talk, हमारे कितने जनरल हवाई जहाज हैं हमारी सिविल एविएशन में, कहते 760, 800, कितने बोले सर 1200 हो जाएंगे? मैंने बिल्कुल नहीं, ये 2000 तक जाएगी. अगर ये सिस्टम, अगर आप 4 साल में एक नया कर देते हैं, आप 27 शहरों में पहुंच जाते हैं, तो यू आर लुकिंग एट डेली राइडरशिप many times of what it is today, because there are good reasons for it, because you are connecting some of the trunk routes. And most people, for instance, if you have to catch a flight and you've got reasonably good last mile connectivity, and that becomes important. You go from wherever you are living to the metro station, and you take the airport line, you come get off right at the airport. Then you got other facilities being added. So I think the behavioral change in shifting to the metro is in evidence.
Just, I think we move to Suyash, Economic Times.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Suresh from Economic Times, sir. My first question is regarding green hydrogen. As we shift towards green hydrogen, what are the challenges you think there are, especially in terms of affordability? And second would be, sir, regarding non-motorized transport. Non-motorized transport in the sense cycles and pedestrians. What are we doing about it? Because a lot of people prefer walking or taking pedestrians or something.
So what we are doing a lot on both. Now let me start with non-motorized transport.
So I had actually one more question.
Sorry, please, yeah.
And another question is regarding affordability and viability. How do we strike a balance between affordability and viability? Since one of the speakers said it's a challenge. A lot of state transport corporations.
No, I think what Pradeep was addressing the issue in terms of a challenge if it was a classroom listing. At the end of the day, if you're borrowing money for large capital-intensive projects like this, affordability is an important factor, but you cannot be at the level at the cost of the system itself being run aground, and you're not being able to pay back the loans. As I said, Delhi Metro, we borrowed 27,000 crores or so from JICA, Japan International Cooperation Agency. So you have to pay the loan back, but then you also increase your revenue from other sources, etc. So there is not too much of a challenge. There is a challenge. You don't want the metro system to become very expensive, but you don't let it. There's a fair fixation committee which looks at precisely that issue. In Delhi Metro, we didn't have a fair fixation committee for 8 years. So when the fair fixation committee was established, they decided to do it in 2 segments. I think April, May of 2017 and the second one in October. And people who have a vested interests in making all these, they think that if you make the metro free, pollution भी कम हो जाएगी, ये भी, then सर कर्जा भी तो किसी को देना है, और वो कर्जा नहीं दोगे तो बाकी loans नहीं मिलेंगे. और इस दुनिया में the word spreads very quickly. If you default on a payment, then the other guys will not. When you go there and say it will be in the public domain. So I don't think that's a very serious issue. Yes, by and large, I think compared to these systems are efficient. If you have a cost on those other trains also, Vande Bharat trains, the fare was a little higher, but the consumer is quite happy to pay that for the efficient and ease of travel which follows as a result of that. So I think that's the experience which has... Your first question was on green hydrogen. See, green hydrogen is very clear. You have to bring the cost per kilo of green hydrogen down. I just become a minister for petroleum and natural gas in July of 2021. The first conversation I had with the Secretary of Energy there was, let's get it to 1 for 1 for 1. What does it mean? 1 kilo for... 1 kilo for 10 years for $1. $1, 1 kilo, $1 for, that's the kind of thing. The cost is coming down. You need 2 essential requirements. One is you must be able to produce clean solar energy, totally green solar energy at a lower cost. We have demonstrated that we can bring it down from 25 cents a unit to 3 cents a unit. We have demonstrated that. You may not charge that, but it's doable. Secondly, you need electrolyzers. Now, every possible electrolyzer manufacturer in the world is in India now. Plus, wherever we go, we do that. I'm dealing with a company, they have a 20-30,000 of 5 million metric tons. And I said, well, how can you as a company? He said, no, we are going to produce green ammonia for export and only 1 million of green hydrogen. Green hydrogen typically succeeds, as I said there, when you have a large country like India or the United States, where there's a lot of demand for energy in a particular place. Demand is one thing. The production must take place there, because the gas does not lend itself to transportation. A lot of people will tell you that, no, we will make it in Western Australia. I'm not meaning Western Australia, but, deserts of Western Australia, there's a lot of sunshine there. But how do you transport green hydrogen? You don't do it. You can transport green ammonia. And after the demand being there, production being there, the consumption also takes place there. So India is very well suited for that. And when I take a monthly meeting on green hydrogen, in which we have not only our OMCs, which are devoting their refineries to green hydrogen. One of our companies has, I think, 11. I think 2 refineries are already devoted to green hydrogen. I'm encouraging others. Everybody's taking to it. Green hydrogen has now become, after the Honorable Prime Minister's statement from the ramparts of the Red Fort, when was this? I think 2021, when he said that we will do it in mission mode. And then you had a cabinet decision, then you had a PLI scheme launched for assistance for electrolyzer manufacturers, I think 19,700 crores on that PLI scheme. And you had a decision on how different parts of the government will deal with green hydrogen. I mean, the steel sector has one requirement, power sector is another, but I still come to the conclusion, green hydrogen will succeed when our refineries start using it, green hydrogen. And I think we're getting there.
So the last question from your side, yes.
Sir, I'm Gubak from Business Standard. I have 3 questions. One is, since you mentioned that metro systems across the country are becoming more viable by the day, just wanted to get a sense of what the government feels about going forward with public-private partnerships in metro systems going forward. A sub-question to that is about Reliance Infrastructure, the court case that's currently going on. You've made your position very clear in the past that whatever was the situation with the arbitral dues. Sorry. Am I audible now? Yeah. So just wanted to understand what the perspective is on the arbitral dues to Reliance Infrastructure.
I don't discuss court cases through press conferences.
Sure.
We have filed a curative and that's what it is. So I don't discuss court cases yet, number 1. Number 2, insofar as, what was the first question?
PPPs going forward in metro systems.
PPP is something that we are quite open to and happy everywhere. But you must have PPP coming through, and I don't want the kind of experiences which we've had in the past some time.
Right.
When a fully functioning line, that is a fully functioning line, it never ceased operation. I'm not referring to any case. Right. And because the private operator was not getting the return he or she wanted on his investment and deserted it, and then comes around and starts, suing us. I mean, in terms of economic logic, it's a very peculiar situation. Right. So I'm not going into any case, as I said.
Right.
I mean, you see, people will come forward, but you might like to add something.
Sir, the present PPP policy with regard to metros is that we would provide, whether by the state government or by a private sector, we would provide 20% VGF for those projects. Like this Tata's project in Pune-Hinjewadi line is there. Any other place, if there is a demand for PPP, we would follow the policy in the same way.
Any proposals that are there currently any proposals that you could share
As of now, the Tata's is the only one which is under construction.
And so just the last question was Delhi Metro, do we have any plans beyond phase 4 expansion in Delhi Metro? Phase 4 work is currently going on, but of course it's also been delayed. Ideally it should have been.
No, I mean, it's delayed in the sense we've been pursuing it. We need to sign an MOU.
Right.
But the gentleman sitting next to you has a piece on it on update of since morning, so you could do that. No, but listen, it's like this.
Right.
If you have an efficient functioning system, it's running in 895 kilometers throughout the country in 20 cities. It's going up to 27. It's only a matter of time where people will want, isko yahan 4 kilometer jod do, wahan pe 6 kilometer jod do. I have a lot of stuff, but I don't discuss those as concrete proposals, because if they come to me from individual MPs, till a decision is taken. Just now, I think we've got our consideration zone quite full with the phase 4 and the 3 components there.
Right.
So thank you very much. Last question, sir. So this is when Namo Bharat started, and railways is also starting Vande Metro, which are similar kind. This is also catering to 100-200 kilometer stretch on the existing line, and cost will be cheaper. So how are you going to look at this integration?
You see, you're making a very valid point. You see, ultimately, railways have been running networks for a long time. Railways ran a network, metro in Calcutta also. After that, we brought this in, urban transport. As we proceed, these are plans. At some stage, you'll have to look at how you have so many metro companies, you have railways, so on. So all that, those are issues which will be addressed. But just now, you have an efficient functioning system, and we don't want to derail that by, looking at alternate management structures before anything is required.
Just as a follow-up on that, because I also have the same query. So I covered the RRTS.
Mic, hold the mic.
And
many people are asking us that we already have existing metro line. Is there a provision to connect the two? Like we're talking about multimodality.
All those, I'll be happy to sit down with you. Although there are all kinds of proposals, which is better, one is more cost-effective, the others, all that we'll have a discussion.
Because you have a Ghaziabad station, sir, at Saristhal, and we have
connectivity is being provided between metro stations and Namo Bharat RRTS stations. That connectivity we have planned and we are going ahead with that.
I mean, on the longer run, you're saying, sir. In the longer
जहाँ भी मेट्रो लाइन और RRTS की कनेक्टिविटी संभव है, जहाँ स्टेशंस पास हैं, वो पूरी प्रॉपर कनेक्टिविटी सब जगह प्रोवाइड की गई है.
Okay, because we're just starting with priority.
His question is going somewhere else. Well, anyway, okay, thank you very much.
We'll conclude it here. Thank you. Please join for lunch.